We are live, TJ.
Yes, here we are yet again.
Trying to sort this phone out, but we're live. It's all good, thank you. How are you?
I am fabulous, thank you.
And are you tucked up in bed?
I am just sitting here chatting away. Couldn't wait to get to speak to everyone again this week.
So Rob is watching. Hi to Rob. Let's get a few more viewers watching tonight because it's all about role models. Yeah, so let's get some viewers watching. Like and share this page to as many people. Let your friends know we're here talking about role models. And if you're watching, so Rob will kick off with you. Who was your role model growing up? And did you have the right role model? Did you have the wrong role model? Is it important to have role models? What's the viewers' thoughts on role models? Is it important to have them? What about you, TJ? What do you think is a role model? What should we start with that? What is a role model?
So a role model for me is someone that I may not even realise, but you look up to and you follow their lead in the things that you see them do. And most of the time, I've looked at my role models in, so I could have an example in my life or something I wanted to aspire to. So for me, my dad was my role model, that he was always a problem solver. He was out there doing business for a company and he was in the army and he was the head of the house and, he was great. He is a great man. And also Richard Branson for business, that he's just kept going, built stuff up. Some things have been great, a couple have been a failure, but he still kept going and he's just an amazing man. What about for you?
Well, I just want to pick up before I talk about kind of my role models, and hi to my mum that's watching as well, who happens to be one of my role models. But you mentioned something, said some of us, we do it even unintentionally.
Yes.
And sometimes we don't even know we're looking up to somebody and it is completely unintentional. But yeah, you're absolutely right. A role model is someone who you look up to, who you admire, and they can be different throughout different phases and stages of your life. So when we're young and growing up, there's always probably an elder person, an older sibling, an older relative, who we dote on for many reasons. It could be, a teacher, a parent. For me growing up, my mum, my parents were my role model. Also, I remember vividly at the age of 4 or 5 years old going to school, my very first primary school teacher, Mrs. Asher and Mrs. Berry, they were both my key role models in life whom I admired and looked up to and liked their qualities. And then growing up later for me, my PE teacher, when I was 11 years old, Miss Polton, when I then went to secondary school, and, it was people I looked up to, admired and wanted to be like, because I wanted to be, a PE teacher. And also, my dad and stepmom, they played a key part in terms of shaping qualities and things that I admired. So, throughout all of my life, there's been a variety of role models. Even, Louise, who I used to work for, is somebody I looked up to and admired and wanted a business like hers. And those kind of things. There's different role models at different stages of our lives. Would you agree, TJ?
Definitely, most definitely.
And it's important to have good role models. And it's even more important to have good role models, because Rob is saying in a comment, unfortunately, he had bad role models growing up. And if you're hanging around wrong people, you're going to end up doing the wrong things. But a good role model is someone who's always positive, calm and confident in themselves. And it's someone others look to as a good example. That, for me, is what a good role model is. And someone who inspires others to imitate his or her behaviour. And for many children, the parents and carers are the role model. They are the first and foremost role model in a person's life. And if you haven't got good parents as good role models, then you've then got to find those role models elsewhere. What do you think?
As a role model, especially as a parent or as a teacher, you want to show them all the right way forward. So you'll hear people say, don't do that around the children, or don't swear around the children, because you don't want them to copy or model that behaviour.
Yes.
So you're like, no, I've got to, even if you're not perfect, or none of us are perfect, you have to try to show that good, well-behaved model citizen side, don't you?
It is, and positive role models boost people's, particularly young people's, motivation by modelling a guide to achieve success. Things like having an ability to inspire others, having a clear set of goals, a commitment to community, acceptance of others, and an ability to overcome obstacles. And I'll talk about that later. But for the viewers watching tonight, I want you to tell me what you think is a good role model, what you like about them. Who is your role model? Who did you have growing up as your role model? Rob is saying at this time, I'm Michelle, and one of your role models. That's nice, Rob. Do we need role models? Yes, of course we do, because we need positive role models influence our actions, don't they? And they motivate us to strive to uncover our true potential and help us overcome our weaknesses. So it's really important to have good role models. And like I said, when we are young, there's always an elder person, a sibling, or someone in the family, or a teacher or parent. And again, some of us will do it unintentionally, not even realise we're looking up to somebody.
Would you say as someone is looking up to someone as well, the other way around?
Could you say?
Would you say even if we're not even aware of it, someone is looking up to us as role models as well?
Yeah, we could not. Yeah, that's really key. We actually wouldn't even know if we were somebody's role model without being told it. My mum is saying,
that's true.
It's true, isn't it? We are all somebody's role model without even being aware of it. So it's really important how we behave, and are we being an example of good behaviour or negative behaviour? For my mum, she's saying her role models were Mary and Joe Kozlowski, who ran a newsagent. She worked for them for 6 years, and they embraced her and taught me that she was worth it. It's key people in your life that have had an impact and that you've admired, and they've taught you some values, and they've just,
Miss Mabel.
For Conroy, Miss Mabel. Yeah, it's, for me, I said my parents already, my mum, my dad, they are great role models for me. And, I've had the privilege of having good role models as a child. Jenny is saying, even though I don't get along with him most of the time, my dad is still my role model. And also Eminem. Oh, by the way, it's Chris, by the way. Hello, Chris, if you're watching. But Eminem, and it's great. It's funny, isn't it? People have musicians that they look up to and aspire to want to be like. My question to you, Chris, is what is it about Eminem that you like? And then Fran is asking, how do you react finding out you're the bad model? Well,
that is true. Oh, that is a really good one.
That's a really good question.
What would you do, Michelle?
How do you find out? What if your children start telling you were a bad role model for me, or a sibling? It's actually to say, do you know what? You did the best job you could do with the skills and knowledge you had at that time, and you did your best. That's a really good question, Fran. How do you react finding out that you are the bad role model? You've been told you're the bad role model. All you can do is know that you did your best with the skills and knowledge you had at that time, and to move forward, you've got to just let go of that and work on yourself and be the good role model that you know you can be. Jenny is also saying fellow recovering addicts to me are massive role models. And yeah, I completely understand that. People who've walked a path and gone a journey and have come out through the other end are massive role models to people perhaps who are currently in recovery. Rob is saying, I think a role model should have a positive influence on others and to lead by example. And it is that, isn't it? Which for me is the good moral compass, a good moral values, is actually you not just say what I say and do something different. You actually are following what you preach. You practice what you preach. There's nothing worse than having somebody to say, don't do as I do as I say. There's nothing worse. I have no respect for people who lead by that kind of quality. What's your thoughts on that?
I think there are lots of people out there, especially adults of children, that often do that. But that's not being a leading role model. You can try and say you can learn by my example, by don't making the same mistakes. But often people don't listen to that. They watch what you do and follow. So so I'm thinking of both negative and positive. You see people out there right now making money the wrong way, and people think, oh, that's nice, easy money. They look like they're having a good time. And obviously you only see what you want to see as well, don't you? So then people go and do something and then realise it wasn't all it was cracked up to be, and then they look back to people in their life that were leading by example and look to how they can get back to it. And 99% of people do exactly that, thinking, oh no, this is not the way, I want to do it that way.
Sorry,
especially your parents.
Yeah, but you can't choose your parents. You cannot choose your parents, and you cannot blame them for the way that you were raised or brought up. All you can do is that the time comes when you have children, or that you become a role model because you've got younger siblings, that you can be the best version of you and be the best role model you can be, but not blaming your parents for not doing a good job. Sorry, I keep saying Jenny and it's Johnny Smith, but really it's Chris, so laugh out loud. You are saying it's Johnny, not Jenny. But fellow recovering addicts, to you, Chris, are massive role models. And you are also saying, Chris, that his music reflects his personality and you relate a lot to his music. Fran is going back to that question, how do you react finding out you're the bad role model? Fran is saying, children, she was a drug addict and she's been clean for nearly 7 years. So well done, Fran. Chris is saying, my biggest fear is being a bad role model to my daughter. That's why I can't fail. And it's Johnny, not Jenny. I know, but it's really you, Chris. All you can be, Chris, is be the best you can be to your daughter with the skills and knowledge you have right now. The saying you can't fail is setting yourself up to fail, because failure is always going to be an option. People think failure is not an option, and you set yourself up to fail because there's always going to be failures, but they are learning opportunities, and to see them as learning opportunities. So those that are watching tonight, it's all about role models. So like and share this page. I want to...
I just wanted to say about that family thing with being a parent. I always thought I had to try and look like I was perfect, and obviously we're not. But what is good to show the kids, for example, I had a massive phobia over spiders, and I tried to hide it, not incredibly well. But what I did show was one of my children that I did have the phobia, and then we kept going and looking at spiders and everything else until I could hold one. And that showed them that although I had a problem, there is a way around it, and then I did solve it at the end. And I think that gave him more skills than me trying to pretend I was all right with spiders and just trying to get away from them.
Yeah, it's true. All you can do is be your best, and like my mum is saying, you don't have manuals for being a parent, and we will always make mistakes, but we can only do our best. Fran is saying, thank you for all the well dones and everything else for being clean for 7 years, but she feels guilty still, as I'm now seeing what damage has been done too. My advice to you, Fran, is you cannot change what's been. You can only help repair going forward, and that's needing to come to a place of acceptance. I would love you to come on a program, Fran, and work with us, and let us help you deal with the guilt. You cannot change what's been. So just harboring onto guilt is putting yourself at dis-ease. All you can do is be the best parent now and equip your child, grandchildren, whatever it is, whoever they are, with the skills and knowledge you have now, and be the best role model that you can now. But stop worrying and feeling guilty for the damage that you feel has happened. Children are very resilient. Human beings, we're naturally very resilient. But all you can do is help equip them to become, happy human beings. Role models are a must for self-improvement, because we must have a standard to strive for, to compare ourselves with. And I mentioned a few of my role models growing up, but like you said, TJ, I'm in line with you on Richard Branson. I've read a few of his books, and I really like the fact he takes risks, and the journey he's come, and he's cheeky with, he bought the Virgin Isles and offered a ridiculous amount of money, 100 grand, and it was up for a few million. So, people from history, biographies that people read, they can become your role models. For me, Napoleon Hill book, Think and Grow Rich, reading him really inspired me. And a book I've read more recently, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, is another inspiration to me in terms of a role model for my financial blueprint. But it's about finding the right role models, but they typically start, for children, they start with family, because you normally have shared values and principles that guide us through life. Like I said, you could have history, people from business, people from science, political background, or showbiz. Some people look up to celebrities as their role models. Musicians, like we've had already, Eminem, and so on and so forth. Biographies people read, high achievers. What do you like about those people? It's qualities we like in those people, isn't it? But there's multiple role models that you have throughout different stages of our lives. But for me, I've got a top 5 qualities for me that I think is a good role model, which I'll share later. But another huge influence for me was Norman Vincent Peale, who wrote the book The Power of Positive Thinking. And I really strongly recommend you read that book, and I think I might pick that book up again and reread it. It's The Power of Positive Thinking. It's a game changer. Robert is saying my partner's role model is Buffy, Buffy the vampire. And people do have cartoon characters, don't they? And fictional things as their role models, don't they, TJ?
It's great. It doesn't really matter who the person is for you. If you get that link with someone and they inspire you to do something that's good, that will motivate you and make you the better you, does it make any difference who that person is? They don't have to be the same person as anyone else, do they, Michelle?
They don't have to be real. It can be a character like Buffy the vampire.
Yeah.
But all sports persons and sports teams have coaches, and the coach's job is to influence that team or person's performance. Why do you need a coach? Why do they need a coach? Because coaches keep us motivated. They keep us on track and on target. They keep us inspired, and they show us how to overcome our weaknesses, and how to face difficult situations. So it's important to have coaches, role models you look up to. I'm thankful that I have a husband who is on the same journey and the same page as me, and we have shared values and principles that we live our life by, and he is someone that I would turn to for advice and holding me to account. So in a way, he's also my role model. He's putting his thumb up. But yeah, qualities, top qualities. Do you want to hear my top 5 qualities?
I'd love to.
Oh, someone before, Chris is saying, I admire, excuse me if I get this wrong, Vibes Cartel, because even though he's been in prison for murder, or he's in prison for murder, he still puts out positive, feel-good music. What else are you saying there? Let me click the more. It will come to me. He's a dance hall artist from Jamaica, Vibes Cartel. So even though he's in prison for murder, he still puts out positive feel-good music. And it's interesting, isn't it, who is our role model and why, what it is we like about them. But for me, my top qualities of role models, number one is passion and an ability to inspire. Passion for the work and infecting others with their passion. Don't you just love being around those people who are so passionate that it's infectious? You can't help but get passionate about it too. And I get like that with you, TJ, when we meet. It's, rah, you know, the passion is ignited and we infect, I think, each other with that kind of passion.
Yeah, I was just thinking exactly the same of you. When we see our people that come on our weekly programs and you start talking and you see them coming to life and them saying, you know, I want to do this, I want to do that. You motivate them on to just want to be better in their own lives. They've gone from, I've seen people gone from, I don't want to change, I'm quite happy the way I am, I'm quite happy to be in bed, not getting dressed, not getting washed, taking drugs and not having any money, to, oh my God, I'm up, I've got new clothes, I've got a job, and I'm going to start my own business. And they're whole different people, because you've been that great role model and shown them and inspired them. It's awesome.
I do love seeing the change. And Fran is saying Louise Hayes, You Can Heal Your Life, helped her when her marriage broke down. She still has the book. I've actually got that book. It is an amazing book. And I love Louise Hayes. And bless her, she passed, I think, 2 years ago now. But Louise Hayes does all the talking in the mirror, the self-love. The law of attraction was a big thing for me, Rhonda Byrne. I've said Napoleon Hill, the Think and Get Rich. Think and Grow Rich, the science of getting rich, the power of positive thinking. I'm just reading out a few more kind of inspiring books that have inspired me. But my top qualities, number one was passion and ability to inspire. Number two, having a clear set of values, you know, underlying values that you live your life by. And it's you do what you say. You don't just practice what I preach. You actually practice what you preach. Don't just do as I say, don't do as I do kind of thing. But having a clear set of underlying values, moral values to live your life by. The third one is a commitment to community for me. Instead of being self-focused, it's always other-focused. And the nature of the work that we do, TJ, is always about being other-focused and not self-focused. And that leads me into the fourth quality, which is selfless and acceptance of others. And not seeing people's barriers, but seeing people's needs and acting upon them and helping them. Teaching people to serve, because we are here to serve people. That's what we've been put on this planet to do. And the last one is the ability to overcome obstacles. Success isn't measured not by the position we're in, but by the obstacles that we've overcome. And Rob Senior is saying a good role model to me should have positive beliefs, values, attitudes and behaviours that empower others. And Rob is saying, I hope I'm a role model for the guys I support. And I will say 100%, Rob, you are. And you've heard it from people that you've worked with, that you have inspired them, and you are a role model because they've seen you walk their shoes, and you're showing them that you're breaking free and that you have broken free from a life of crime and substances. I'm trying to click more, and that it can be done. So you are 100% certainly a role model, Rob, to the people we work with and the people that we also support in accommodation. So a pat on the back,
definitely.
A pat on the back to you, Rob. So they're my top 5 qualities, really. Passion, ability to inspire others, a clear set of values, a commitment to community, being selfless and of acceptance of others, and the last one, the ability to overcome obstacles. Some people look up to people for money, don't they?
They do. I think there's a whole different range of reasons, and I mean, it's not even always long term, is it? Sometimes it's short term. You could see someone, how they're behaving in the street, and look up to them for that. Could that be a type of role model too?
It can, but some people look up to people for their wealth, They want to be like them because they're wealthy. And 99% of people who aspire to be wealthy, it's okay to aspire to be wealthy, but the issue is following money without bringing value to the people around you. When you add value, when you add value, then money will follow. But people who just chase money will end up always just chasing money. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely, because you've got to have more purpose than that, haven't you?
Yeah, otherwise you'll end up just chasing the money. There's got to be a reason behind it. You can't just want to just be wealthy. If you're just chasing the money, you'll always just end up chasing the money. You'll never add value, and ultimately won't feel good. Conroy's asking, why do people look up to wrong people? Because some people, that's all they've ever known. Some people, that's the people that are in their life at a key, it could be family at the time, that all they know. And they don't really have a choice until they start to experience other things, perhaps outside of the family home. But it does start off typically at home. Chris is asking, is that Rob from Reactivate? Rob from Reactivate is definitely a role model. He changed his life around in the 4 months I went to prison, and I came out, and he then works for Reactivate. So, so there you go, Rob. I hope there you go. Look, even Fran is saying, Rob, you are amazing. So Rob, you've got all these fans on this page tonight who are actually saying what a great role model you are to them. And you are an asset to the organisation, adding value to people's lives, which is what we're here to do, is to serve others. So keep going, Rob, because you are amazing. But as your life changes, I don't want to talk about the people we hang around with, because why do people look up to the wrong people? Why do people listen to, especially kids, don't they, listen to the wrong music that are all about gangs and killings and drug dealing and earning your money? And why do young children listen to that type of music?
Lack of love.
Yeah, as soon as they go to lots of gangs, don't they, with that, and they look for that family, that role models in that. It's quite strange when you think of it like that way, isn't it?
Well, they might look at them and think, I like their trainers, I like their tracksuit, I like what they look like, I want some of that, I like the fact they've got money. And then young children are brought in doing, hey, you can have this if you do this and this, and then they get drawn into it. But they're in it perhaps brought in because of a lack of sense of belonging, a lack of self-esteem, a lack of identity, a lack of attention, lack of care, or perhaps they just want the money. Perhaps they're inspired by what the people have.
It's what they portray it to look like, but often once you're in that point, you soon start to look for other role models to get out again, don't you?
Yes, you do, because once you're in, aren't you? And it's very hard to get out. But they say if you surround yourself with 5 losers, you'll become the 6th. I'm going to say that.
Makes sense.
I'm going to say that again. If you surround yourself with 5 losers, you're guaranteed to become the 6th loser. People will either inspire you or they will drain you. So pick your friends or your people you hang around with wisely, because they'll either inspire you or drain you. And some people hang around people who just drain people. Rob is saying kids look up to bad role models as a lot are surrounded by poverty and see others with nice clothes and money. There you go, exactly what we were just saying. And want to fit in with them, and they want to be like them. They want to have those trainers, the tracksuits and everything else. Conroy saying, I think sometimes, especially young people who look up to the wrong people, are searching for something. Let me try and click them more. Do you want to say it?
In those people.
So they're searching for something in those people that haven't got from home. We do say it always starts from home, doesn't it? But it's so important who our role models are. It's so key, because it helps us strive to become a better person. But yeah, is there anything more you want to say that on, TJ?
Yeah, I can remember being a kid and watching, and I saw somebody got bullied, and then they started hanging out with the bully to be the role model and things like that, because again they were scared and they were looking for that protection and that sort of and being happy. But then when they didn't find it, obviously they started to walk into areas of life they didn't want, and then had to come backwards and work extra hard to try and get out again.
Yeah. It's so important who we get influenced by. And Fran is saying, yes, living today is so very much harder. She has a son who's very close to being dragged into a gang. Let me just click the more. At the tender age of 16, he too thinks that in order to fit in, he needs to belong to a gang. And, it doesn't. It's trying to get them out of that now. It'd be great if he could come on the programme, because hopefully we could help inspire him and change his course, change his path. It's crazy, isn't it? But it's about adding value and finding the right role models. Fran is asking, I think, Rob, how can we get on the programme, or how can we get her on the programme? So, Fran, do make contact with us. Peer pressure is awful. The peer voice becomes very influential at the age of 10, 11 years old, and the peer voice becomes stronger than the parent voice for kids from 10, 11-year-olds onwards. And social media has made kids' lives so much more scarier. There's so much, isn't it, in terms of what we have access to, but there's also access to all the good stuff online too. But yeah, finding the right role models, perhaps someone from history, biographies we like reading. It could be a cartoon character, family members, but you have multiple role models throughout our life, depending on our different stages and aspects of our lives. But just to summarise for me, I thank you for the people who've shared, and you've been, really upfront and honest and open, and I love that. But if you do want further help, do feel free to message us privately and get yourself on one of our programmes. But for me, those top qualities, going back to role models: passion, ability to inspire others, having a clear set of values, a commitment to community, selfless and acceptance of others, and ability to overcome obstacles. Just all you can do is be the best version of you every day. And if you can go to bed at night with your hand on your heart and say, do you know what, I did the best I could today, and then tomorrow's another day. And if you haven't been the best you can be, you got tomorrow to put it right and learn from it, and not beat yourself up, and not harbour things and hold on to things that are just going to make you at dis-ease. But role models are key. It's good for us to strive to be like somebody. Get your teeth into a book that inspires you. There's so many good books out there, and I've said a few of them to you tonight. The Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. The Secret, Rhonda Byrne. Norman Vincent Peale, the Power of Positive Thinking. There's so many. And listening to podcasts that are positive. I've started recently listening to Katie Hill's Limitless podcast on Spotify, and love her, the ex-Blue Peter presenter. But so yeah, just find someone who inspires you, find someone who you want to be like, and surround yourself with people who can elevate you rather than bring you down. And Chris is saying, I think Reactivate are going to make big differences in lots of lives. I totally agree with what you lot stand for, and thank you for supporting me. I'm clean, I'm sober, and I feel great, and it's because of you, so just want to say thank you. Actually, Chris, it's down to you. All we can do is give you the skills, the tools and mindset to help you along that journey, but it's down to you. So well done to you for implementing the stuff that we've given you. So is there anything else you want to say, TJ? It's a short and sweet one tonight.
There is. While I'm listening to all of the things that you can do to get yourself a role model, which is most important, to always be the best you can be, always remember that everyone is looking around you as well, your work colleagues, the way you behave in the shop, the way you behave when you go on holiday. People are looking and they're going to look to you for you to be their role model too. Make sure you're a positive one and not a negative one, and help them on their way, just like you're going to find people to help you on your way. Be there to support them.
And my mum is saying life is a learning curve, and we learn from books, people, and companies like Reactivate to make us a better version of ourselves. And Rob is saying you're doing great to Chris. But it's been a pleasure talking to you guys again on a Friday evening. We will look forward to talking to you next week. And if there's anything we can do to help you, if you're stuck, if privately message us. You'll always get a response. But find the right role models. Find people who are going to elevate you and help you move forward in life and hold you accountable. Conroy has got something to say.
I just want to add to, you may be in different stages of your life right now, and you want to achieve something that is different from, what Michelle has said tonight. But find a book that is relatable to what you would like to achieve at this stage of your life, and just get onto that, and you'll get to where you want to get to.
So thank you, Conroy, for that little bit there. Final message from you, TJ.
Make sure that you join us every Friday. Tell everyone about us so that we can help carry on being and helping others. Like and share, and let us know you're there. We'd love to hear all your comments and everybody else's. Let's get this out to everyone, and let's start reactivating the nation.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. It's a short and sweet one, and we'll see you next Friday. Have a great weekend and see you soon.
Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.